big news. It is official. Caitlin Clark is returning to the lineup. Caitlin looks like if she's like 150% ready.
Caitlin Clark is cleared to play.
Caitlin Clark officially back in action.
Caitlin Clark will be back on the court.
Caitlin Clark was just cleared to play. Now this changes everything.
She was coming back.
Caitlin Clark is officially back and ready to face the New York Liberty. After 5 games out,
She missed a grand total of 5 games. It was a real incomplete team that had.
she's cleared, confident, and determined to lead the Fever again. The league felt her absence.
WNBA ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury.
Ratings without Caitlin Clark, they're just down a lot, a whole lot.
Now it's about to feel her presence. If you're with Caitlin all the way, comment 100% to show your support.
Caitlin Clark is the system.
Caitlin Clark is
Generational talent we've needed.
She is the system.
She's 4th in the league in MVP voting.
Caitlin Clark is an absolute all-star. She is the Michael Jordan of this. This is the girl that girls have been waiting for forever.
Caitlin Clark is a rising star in women's basketball. She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
Caitlin Clark's return isn't just a rumor, it's confirmed. After missing 5 games due to a left quad injury,
Caitlin Clark absent due to a strained left quad has a significant impact on WNBA.
The superstar Fever guard has been out since May 24th, strained left quad.
the Indiana Fever star has been officially cleared to play against the New York Liberty. The announcement came directly from both Coach Stephanie White and Caitlin herself, putting all doubts to rest.
I'm super excited. I'm antsy to get out there and probably shake off a little bit of rust.
This wasn't a rushed return either. Caitlin underwent extensive rehab, and her words reflect just how locked in she's been. There was imaging done to tell that my leg is okay. I felt really good and was sprinting, changing direction, everything I need to do.
Like, there was imaging done to tell that my leg is okay. Like, we're not guessing, we're not going off of feeling. So I can find confidence in that we know we weren't able to find anything or see anything, and that was kind of my all clear. I knew I was feeling really good, so that wasn't a surprise by any means, that it looked that way when we had the imaging done. But yeah, I mean, I felt really good, and then honestly, just sprinting, as you know, change of direction and sprinting, and then
That imaging gave her the all clear, and the Fever coaching staff saw no signs of regression. In practice, she looked sharp, hitting shots, moving with confidence, and even nailing a half-court bucket that sent fans into a frenzy.
So Caitlin Clark moving in practice? She's out there moving. Okay, yeah. She's moving as well as she has all year. Shooting turnaround fadeaways in the practice squad? Okay, yeah, she's feeling it. You can tell when Caitlin Clark feels okay. You can just tell by the way she's reacting after making plays if she's all right.
No swelling, no pain, and no limitations. Stephanie White made it clear that Caitlin has been steadily ramping up her workload with no setbacks, and her rhythm is improving daily. For Clark, this was her first real injury in 5 years. Instead of dwelling on frustration, she poured everything into recovery. Red light therapy, hyperbaric oxygen chambers, strength training, nothing was off the table.
anything under the sun I basically did. A lot of needling, a lot of, when you do treatment and rehab, you're still lifting. You're almost lifting heavier than probably what I would be doing like on a day like today when preparing for a game. Just trying to strengthen my muscles, my left leg and my right leg. Literally anything I tried at red light therapy, hyperbaric oxygen chamber, we do it all. Yeah. And the same goes even when I'm feeling healthy, that's a big part of it, massages, everything. So just being very intentional about that. And now that I do feel good, still staying on top of that and continuing to do that so I don't have any sort of setbacks, I think is going to be really important.
And it shows. She's not only physically ready, but mentally sharper from observing the game from the sidelines.
Yeah, I think it's just having the mindset of, I don't need to make up for lost time, just being patient and getting back into the flow of things, getting back into the flow of playing with my team. We changed a little bit of what we did on offense when I was out, just certain actions that we had to be more intentional in.
Clark called the time away a learning opportunity, saying it helped her see things differently and appreciate the game from a strategic angle. Now she's bringing that knowledge back to the court with a new level of intensity. As she put it, I don't need to make up for lost time. I just need to get back in rhythm and play my game. She's not just returning, she's returning with purpose. And she picked the perfect moment, a nationally televised game against a top-tier team with everything on the line.
It's been good. I think she's working her way back, and I felt like today was better than yesterday in terms of just
Caitlin Clark's comeback doesn't just shift the Indiana Fever's momentum, it flips the entire narrative of the WNBA. Her absence revealed more than just the team's struggles without her. It exposed how deeply tied the league's success is to her presence. While some called it an overreaction, the numbers speak for themselves. Nationally televised WNBA games dropped by a staggering 55% in viewership.
WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury.
WNBA ratings is in a heap of trouble without Caitlin.
When Caitlin was sidelined. That's not a dip. That's a collapse. In 4 games before the injury, Clark was averaging 19 points, 9.3 assists, and 6 rebounds, including a triple-double.
Caitlin Clark's triple-double, which is crazy for especially in the first game of the season.
Showcasing not only her scoring ability, but her floor vision and leadership. Without her, the Fever's offense changed completely. They moved away from her signature pick-and-roll style and slowed the tempo, trying to make do with what they had. The results were inconsistent at best. The offense stagnated, and the team fell flat, going 2-3 without her on the floor. More than stats, it was the energy that shifted. The court didn't feel alive. The media buzz cooled. Even die-hard WNBA fans started tuning out. And that's the Caitlin effect. People don't just watch her, they're drawn to her. Whether it's her logo threes, her court vision, her leadership,
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from 3. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from 3-point range.
Or the raw competitiveness she brings to every possession, she pulls in a new generation of viewers who wouldn't otherwise pay attention.
The scary thing is ratings as a whole are down. What does that mean? It means that the fans that are there for Caitlin Clark and staying are currently losing interest without Caitlin Clark.
The Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%.
As one analyst put it, people will sit through bad production quality and poor commentary if Caitlin's playing. If she's not, they're gone. The WNBA got a glimpse of life without her, and it wasn't pretty. YouTube creators, fans on social media, and analysts all echoed the same sentiment. The league doesn't just benefit from Caitlin Clark, it depends on her right now. That's not to discredit other players, but it's the hard truth. She's the rising tide lifting everything: TV ratings, ticket sales, jersey revenue, even social engagement. And now she's back. For the Fever, this is the spark they've been desperate for. Caitlin brings direction to a team that struggled with identity. Without her, lineups felt awkward. Stephanie White's rotations were constantly questioned. The team wasn't playing to anyone's strengths, but with Clark back, everything reorients. The spacing opens up. The ball moves faster. Confidence spreads. It's not just that Caitlin scores or assists, it's how her presence elevates everyone on the floor.
When Caitlin Clark goes with the Valkyries, it's going to be crazy. When she goes to Golden State, that game's going to be crazy. You've seen what it is with the Valkyries.
She's also bringing leadership that's rare for a rookie. Watching from the bench taught her more than just play formations. It taught her how to see the full game and communicate with her teammates in new ways. You have to give your teammates grace, she said in an interview. There's a lot going on out there. That's the mindset of someone who's not just trying to win games, but lead a franchise.
Yeah, I think it's just having the mindset of, I don't need to make up for lost time, just being patient and getting back into the flow of things, getting back into the flow of playing with my team. We changed a little bit of what we did on offense when I was out, just certain actions that we had to be more intentional in, just because, we didn't play out pick and roll as much, because that's what I like to do. And, some of my teammates, that's not their best strength. They have other strengths, so playing to those strengths more.
And on a league level, her return is exactly what the WNBA needed. This weekend's game against the New York Liberty is airing on ABC, a high-profile stage that would have felt flat without her. With Clark back in uniform,
It's going to be a big one, seeing Caitlin Clark back in an Indiana Fever uniform.
expect headlines, viral clips, and a surge in casual and hardcore viewership alike. Every possession she touches is going to be analyzed, debated, and shared across social platforms. The league dodged a bullet. A longer Caitlin Clark absence could have created a gaping hole in national coverage and public interest. But now the WNBA can breathe. The engine is back. The hype is real. And everyone, from fans to analysts to league executives, knows what her presence means. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing again. She's about to reignite everything.
I think for us, as a whole group, there's certain things in games that we have to be able to see a little bit faster and earlier in the games, depending how they're guarding us, how they're guarding certain actions, things that we're doing in coverage that maybe aren't working, and how can we manipulate that? How can we put people in certain screening actions to get exactly what we want? Because you come into a game, you have a scouting report, you have a game plan, but it's not always going to be exactly what you think. And it's obviously easier on the side, and I was talking to quite a few of my teammates. I'm like, I know it's so hard. Like when I'm out on the bench, it's easier for me to just process the action of what's going on. When you're in the game and you have the ball in your hands, you're thinking about so many different things. You're trying to dribble, you're trying to drive, you're trying to pass, you're looking for your teammates, you're thinking about shooting. So it's hard to really, look at the game from the whole perspective of everybody on the floor, and I think that's a lot easier when you're out.
Caitlin Clark's return couldn't be scripted for a more dramatic setting. It's not a soft landing. She's not easing back in during a low-stakes matchup. No, her first game back is against one of the most physically aggressive, high-profile teams in the WNBA, the New York Liberty. This isn't just a regular season game. It's a test of resilience, strategy, and poise under pressure, and everyone knows it. This game isn't just about basketball. It's personal. It's symbolic. It's Caitlin Clark walking back into the storm after being sidelined and showing she can still control the weather. And the stakes? They couldn't be higher. The Fever are still fighting for a spot in the Commissioner's Cup, and a win over a powerhouse like the Liberty could completely shift the direction of their season. But this won't be easy. The Liberty are not just a skilled team. They're smart, aggressive, and ruthless when it comes to exploiting vulnerabilities. And Caitlin's return gives them a target.
Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete. She's the fastest player in the league to me with the ball in her hands, and she was the best guard finishing around the rim last year.
And she was the MVP.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
As highlighted by several analysts, Natasha Cloud is expected to come at Clark with intense pressure, bodying her up, denying her space, making every possession physically draining. Kennedy Burke is another name that's been floated as someone ready to rough her up, especially after the way Liberty handled Clark the last time around. The strategy is clear. Make Caitlin uncomfortable. Beat her up mentally and physically. If you can throw her off early, you throw the Fever off entirely. But Caitlin isn't walking into this game blind. In her own words, she's been studying every detail from the sidelines. While recovering, she watched games closely, not just as a fan, but as a floor general taking mental notes. You have a game plan when you go in, she said, but things shift quickly. It's about seeing how teams guard us early and adjusting fast.
Caitlin Clark coming back, and she's talking about playing fast. She's talking about playing with pace. She's talking about playing up-tempo.
She understands that the Liberty are switch-heavy and pose serious challenges with a lineup that can shoot 1 through 5. She also admitted that in their last meeting, the Fever's scouting report execution was poor. That's something she plans to fix from the moment she steps back on the court. And while the Liberty will try to disrupt her rhythm, Caitlin already has her counterattack mapped out. Speed. She's been clear about what kind of offense she wants to run. Not the slow, half-court sets the team leaned on in her absence. She wants fast tempo, constant movement, and pick-and-roll actions with Aaliyah Boston, her bread and butter. Her critique of the slower offense while she was out wasn't subtle. She wants the ball in her hands and the system to play to her strengths. We didn't play out of pick and roll as much, she noted, because that's what I like to do. This isn't just about basketball IQ, it's about reasserting control over the team's identity, and her teammates are ready. Having both Clark and Sophie Cunningham back means the Fever can finally roll out their intended core.
Hopefully she is getting through whatever she's going through. But Steph White did comment about Sophie Cunningham. She said that she's actually been looking really good in the workouts, so that's a good sign.
Sophie looked really good. Her timing was good. Getting back into game rhythm and timing is the most important thing, and being able to change directions. I thought she looked good. She's had really good workouts throughout the course of the week, and then it's just been reintegrating into live action. So they both look good.
Giving them better spacing, more shot creation, and a competitive edge they lacked during the injury stretch. With Lexi Hull and Kelsey Mitchell getting heavy minutes in recent games, reintegrating Caitlin brings balance and structure to the offense. But beyond the X's and O's, there's an emotional weight to this game that only a few truly understand. Caitlin has never missed time like this before. In 5 years of college and professional basketball, this was her first serious injury. The process of getting sidelined, watching your team struggle, hearing outside noise, it's enough to rattle even the most composed athlete. Yet Caitlin remained locked in. She stayed engaged, vocal, and visible throughout her recovery, earning even more respect from her teammates and coaches. The Liberty game is where she proves that the time away didn't weaken her, it sharpened her. She's had 2 weeks to recover, but more importantly, 2 weeks to reflect, to come back smarter, stronger, and more focused. And now, with the whole country watching on national television, she's walking back into the fire with something to prove. Not just that she's healthy, not just that she can score, but that she's the leader of this team, the face of this league, and the player you build around. She knows the Liberty will come for her, and she's ready. This isn't just a comeback, it's a challenge. And Caitlin Clark doesn't back down from challenges. She turns them into statements.
Chloe Peterson got all of this today. This is going to be Caitlin Clark, and this is a little jumper line that they got going on, a little mid-range shot, and that was Caitlin Clark. So, yeah, she's doing a little practicing, but she's just not ready yet.
As Caitlin Clark returns to the Indiana Fever lineup, another headline quietly emerges from the shadows. Aari McDonald has been waived.
Aari McDonald officially gone.
And while that might seem like a minor roster move on the surface, the context reveals a lot more. It exposes the tension between star power and roster depth, between WNBA policy and basketball logic, and in many ways it shows just how tightly Caitlin Clark is woven into the fabric of this team's identity and decision-making. Let's start with Aari's impact. During Caitlin's 5-game absence, Aari McDonald stepped in and made an instant difference. She brought energy, elite defense, and a hunger that turned heads around the league. In just 3 games, she averaged 11 points, 3 assists, and 2 steals, while shooting 38% from 3.
Aari McDonald is averaging 11 points, 3 assists, and 2 steals per game for the Fever. Wow, making 38% of her 3-point attempts over 3 games.
She was leading the entire WNBA in steals, applied relentless ball pressure, and arguably gave Indiana its best on-ball defense at the guard spot. She didn't just hold the line, she elevated the team. In her presence, the Fever went 2-1, including a win over the Chicago Sky and a near upset against tougher competition. Even head coach Stephanie White had nothing but praise for her. She's a dog. She impacted us immediately. She came in ready. Her IQ, her energy, she's a pro. And yet, as soon as Caitlin and Sophie Cunningham were cleared to return...
Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham getting back on the court. So what will this mean, and how will this affect the Indiana Fever? Plus, this means that Indiana Fever did have to waive Aari McDonald.
Aari was cut. Why? It wasn't about performance. It was about the WNBA's hardship contract rules.
Aari McDonald, it was nice to know you. Hopefully, we see you soon. But due to hardship and all these other rules, unfortunately, we were not able to keep Aari McDonald,
which only allowed the Fever to temporarily expand the roster due to injuries. Once Caitlin and Sophie were healthy, the team had no legal room to keep Aari on the roster without waiving someone else or making a trade, neither of which happened. So the team had to make a brutal call. Keep the superstar system intact or break it to maintain depth. They chose Caitlin, as any franchise would. This decision, while understandable, still stung for fans and analysts who had just started to rally behind Ari. She had become a fan favorite overnight, not only because of her production, but because of how seamless she fit into a struggling roster. There's even a case to be made that keeping Ari in the rotation with Caitlin might have strengthened the team.
She would be great on the Indiana Fever as a backup point guard. She would be great as a backup shooting guard. She does have the IQ, she does have the foresight to actually step in for Caitlin Clark when she does come off ball or when she does go out for a rest.
Many pointed out that a small ball lineup featuring Clark, McDonald, Lexi Hull, Sophie Cunningham, and Aaliyah Boston could have created serious defensive pressure without sacrificing offense. But under the current structure, it wasn't possible. And Caitlin, she knows the implications of her return. She never called for Ari to be waived, of course, but her presence changes the math. This is what happens when you're the centerpiece of an organization. Your comeback forces ripple effects that reshape the team. She may not say it publicly, but as someone who's always been a vocal supporter of her teammates, Caitlin is likely just as frustrated with the rules that forced this move. In fact, many believe this situation underscores why Caitlin's future voice in WNBA policy matters.
There was imaging done to tell that my leg is okay. Like we're not guessing, we're not going off of feeling. So I can find confidence in that we know we weren't able to find anything or see anything, and that was kind of my all clear.
Her presence in the next CBA negotiations could be critical. With the league looking to grow, expand rosters, and provide more flexibility, stars like Caitlin Clark may play a direct role in shaping that future. As for Ari, she's already drawing interest from multiple teams, Chicago Sky and Las Vegas Aces being two possibilities. And there's a chance she returns to Indiana in July if the salary cap allows for a 12th roster spot. Her performance proves she belongs in this league. The only question is where she'll land next. But the core message is clear. Caitlin Clark's return isn't just a shift on the court. It affects everything. Who plays, who sits, who stays, who goes. And while the decision to waive Ari McDonald was driven by policy, not preference, it was still a direct result of Caitlin's return to the lineup. The Fever made their choice. They're going all in on their generational talent, even if it means losing a valuable spark plug like Ari. That decision tells us everything we need to know about the team's direction, their priorities, and just how central Caitlin Clark is. Not just to Indiana, but to the entire landscape of the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark is far better of a basketball player and has made such a tremendous impact in a greater number, more so than Angel Reese. Everybody knows that. Her college career was better. The stadium sales, the WNBA popularity has gone up because Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is back, and so is the buzz, the energy, and the fire this league has been missing. Her return against the New York Liberty isn't just another game. It's a defining moment. The Fever are ready to rally, the fans are watching, and the WNBA knows exactly what's at stake. Whether it's bouncing back from injury, reshaping the offense, or reclaiming her spot as the league's brightest star,
all of the Caitlin Clark fans should be happy right now.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP.
She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
Caitlin isn't just returning, she's taking over. And if tonight goes the way it's building up to, this might just be the turning point the entire season has been waiting for.